Have you ever paused, just for a moment, and asked yourself, why do I suffer, even when I seem to have everything I need? Why is it that even in the midst of comfort, success, or love, there's still a quiet unease, a restlessness within? You're not alone in asking. This very question has echoed through the human heart for thousands of years. Over 2,500 years ago, a man named Siddhartha Gautama, a prince who had everything the world could offer, left behind his palace, his riches, and his crown, to search for the answer to one profound question: why do we suffer, and how can we be free? What he discovered would become the foundation of one of the most enduring spiritual paths in human history. A path not based on blind belief, but on direct experience and deep inner wisdom. He called it the Four Noble Truths. They are not commandments. They are not dogma. They are a diagnosis. Just like a skilled physician, the Buddha observed the illness of the human condition, identified its cause, discovered its cure, and offered a way to healing. In this video, we will explore these Four Noble Truths in depth, not as ancient doctrine, but as a living guide, a map toward something we all long for: peace, freedom, and the end of suffering. So wherever you are right now, whether you're watching in silence at home or listening while driving through a busy city, I invite you to pause. Take a slow, gentle breath and turn inward. Because the journey to a happier life doesn't begin out there. It begins within. Let us walk this path together. To truly understand the Four Noble Truths, we must first return to the very beginning, to a quiet forest in ancient India, where a profound realization was first shared. Siddhartha Gautama was not always known as the Buddha. He was once a prince, raised in luxury, shielded from suffering. But even in a palace of gold, he felt the weight of impermanence, the unavoidable truths of aging, illness, and death. One day, after witnessing suffering with his own eyes, he left everything behind: his title, his family, his future as a king, in search of a deeper truth. For 6 long years, Siddhartha practiced extreme self-denial. He meditated under trees, fasted until his body was frail, and lived with nothing but the earth beneath him. Yet even with such discipline, enlightenment did not come. Then, one evening, as he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, he let go of striving. He turned inward, completely, and saw into the very nature of the mind and reality. That night, he awakened. He became the Buddha, the awakened one. But what did he do next? He didn't retreat into silence. He didn't keep his realization hidden. Instead, he stood up and walked. He traveled to a forest grove known as Sarnath, where 5 ascetics, his former companions, were practicing in solitude. At first, they were skeptical. They had watched him abandon harsh austerities and thought he had given up. But as he approached, something was different. His presence was radiant, his peace undeniable. There, in the deer park, the Buddha spoke for the very first time, and what he shared would become the cornerstone of his entire teaching: the Four Noble Truths. He didn't offer metaphysical theories or supernatural promises. He offered something direct, something real, a way to understand the very nature of suffering and how to transcend it. This first discourse is known as the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the setting in motion of the wheel of Dhamma. With these 4 noble truths, the Buddha turned the wheel of truth for the very first time, and it has never stopped turning since. What began as a simple conversation in a forest has echoed through centuries, crossed continents, and transformed millions of lives. And now, over 2,500 years later, it has reached you. Let us now explore what these 4 noble truths truly are, and how they can lead you toward clarity, peace, and inner freedom. The first noble truth, dukkha, the truth of suffering. The first noble truth is simple, yet profound. So simple, in fact, that many dismiss it at first. The Buddha said, "There is suffering," not as a pessimistic statement, not as a judgment of life, but as a deep, compassionate observation of the human condition. In Pali, the word is dukkha, and it doesn't just mean pain or misery. It means unsatisfactoriness, a kind of inner dis-ease that lingers, even when things seem fine. We all experience it. The subtle anxiety that something might go wrong, the disappointment when joy fades, the ache of missing someone, the fear of change, and the sorrow of loss. From the moment we're born, we are subject to things we cannot control: illness, aging, separation, and death. Even the moments we cherish the most, a warm embrace, a success, a celebration, are marked by impermanence. The Buddha didn't teach this to depress us. He taught it to awaken us. Because unless we clearly see that suffering exists, we won't understand why it arises, and we won't be motivated to find a way beyond it. Let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, has there ever been a joy in your life that didn't eventually change, fade, or pass away? This is not to say joy isn't real, but rather, joy, like everything else, is subject to change. And when we cling to what is changing, we suffer. This is dukkha. It's the thread that runs through all of life. When we resist what is, or grasp at what cannot last. The Buddha was not condemning life. He was pointing out its nature, and he was inviting us to look honestly, to see for ourselves. In this very life, as it is, where is there ease? And where is there tension, dissatisfaction, restlessness? When we begin to see suffering not as failure, but as a universal part of being human, our hearts can soften. We begin to see others not as competitors or strangers, but as fellow beings on the same difficult road. Understanding dukkha is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the first truth, because without acknowledging where we are, we can never begin the journey home. And so, with clarity and compassion, the Buddha began here. With truth, not denial. With awareness, not avoidance. There is suffering, and in naming it, we take the first step toward freedom. The second noble truth. Samudaya, the cause of suffering. Once we recognize that suffering exists, the next question naturally arises. Why? Why do we suffer? Is it just fate? Is it because of other people, bad luck, or the world itself? The Buddha looked deeply into the heart of human experience and discovered that suffering has a cause. It is not random. It is not punishment. It arises from something within us. He called it samudaya, the origin or arising of suffering, and he identified its root as tanha, a Pali word that means craving, thirst, attachment. Craving is not just wanting. It is grasping. It is the deep, restless urge that whispers, "This moment isn't enough. I need more." We crave pleasure. We crave approval. We crave control, certainty, permanence. And when we don't get what we want, we suffer. When we get what we want, but fear losing it, we suffer. And even when things go our way, we often still feel restless, unsatisfied. This craving wears many masks. It can look like ambition. It can sound like self-improvement. It can even hide behind love. But at its core, it is a hunger that never ends. In the modern world, this craving is amplified. We scroll endlessly through our phones, seeking distraction, stimulation, escape. We chase happiness in purchases, in status, in constant achievement. But the more we chase, the further peace seems to drift away. Why? Because the problem is not that we desire, The problem is how we desire, with grasping, with clinging, with the illusion that something out there will finally make us whole. The Buddha did not say that desire itself is evil. He spoke of a specific kind of desire, craving that is rooted in ignorance, in illusion. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of impermanence, of interdependence, of the reality that nothing we cling to can last. There is a parable in Buddhist teaching. A man, thirsty and tired, finds a beautiful, cold river. He drinks and feels relief, but then he tries to scoop up the whole river and carry it home. The more he clutches, the more it slips through his fingers. And soon, his joy turns into frustration. Craving turns life into that struggle. We resist what is, we chase what isn't, and in doing so, we suffer. So, the Buddha's teaching was not blame, it was invitation. To look within and see, where am I grasping? Where am I resisting? What am I afraid to let go of? And with that honest seeing, we begin to loosen the grip. We begin to breathe again, to live again, not in reaction, but in presence. This is the wisdom of the second noble truth. Suffering is not inevitable. It has a cause, and because it has a cause, it can also have an end. The third noble truth. Nirodha, the cessation of suffering. We have seen the first noble truth. There is suffering. We have explored the second. Suffering has a cause, craving, clinging, and ignorance. But if the story ended there, it would be a tale of despair. Thankfully, the Buddha did not stop at diagnosis. He offered a cure. The third noble truth is called Nirodha, the cessation of suffering, the possibility of freedom, the promise of inner peace. Yes, there is an end to suffering. And it doesn't require a perfect life, a perfect world, or a perfect version of you. It simply requires seeing clearly, seeing that when craving ceases, so does suffering. When we stop grasping, peace arises naturally. This is not just theory. It is something to be tasted, directly, personally. Think of a moment, however brief, when you felt no need to fix, chase, or control anything. Maybe you were walking in nature, watching a child sleep, or sitting in stillness after a deep breath. In that moment, you were not lacking. You were not comparing. You were just here. That quiet contentment, however fleeting, is a glimpse of Nirodha. The Buddha didn't teach that life becomes perfect. He taught that we can meet life as it is, without resistance, without clinging, and find liberation right in the midst of imperfection. Freedom, then, is not escape. It is not running away from life. It is waking up within life, with open eyes, an open heart, and an open hand. This freedom is not just for monks or mystics. It is for you, you who feel overwhelmed, you who carry grief, you who are seeking something more. Nirodha is the invitation to put down the burden, to stop spinning in the cycle of wanting and fearing, to taste the stillness that is always available, beneath the noise. The Buddha called this freedom nibbana, or nirvana. It is not a distant place. It is the extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion. It is the peace that comes when the mind is no longer consumed by endless craving. In the modern world, we're told that peace comes from having more. The Buddha offered a radical alternative. Peace comes from needing less, from letting go, from being fully awake to this moment as it is. And so, the third noble truth is a turning point. From suffering to possibility, from struggle to surrender, from searching to stillness. And this turning is not something we must wait for. It begins now, with a breath, with awareness, with one small step into the present. From this place of freedom, the Buddha offered one more truth: a path. A way to walk, moment by moment, toward lasting peace. Let us now explore that path. The fourth noble truth. The Noble Eightfold Path. The fourth noble truth, Magga, the path leading to the end of suffering. We have come to the final truth in the Buddha's profound teaching, the fourth noble truth, Magga, the path that leads to the end of suffering. If suffering is the illness, and craving is the cause, then Magga is the medicine, the practical way forward. This path is called the Noble Eightfold Path. It is not a single step, but a guide, a set of interconnected practices to transform our minds, hearts, and actions. The path is often divided into three core areas: wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Let's briefly explore each of these areas, not as rules to follow blindly, but as invitations to cultivate freedom and clarity. First, wisdom, right view, seeing the world clearly, understanding the Four Noble Truths, and recognizing the nature of reality. Right intention, cultivating thoughts of kindness, compassion, and renunciation of harmful desires. Wisdom helps us to wake up from illusions, to see things as they truly are, not as we wish them to be. Second, ethical conduct, right speech, speaking truthfully, kindly, and avoiding harmful words. Right action, acting with integrity, avoiding harm to ourselves and others. Right livelihood, earning a living in a way that does not cause suffering. Ethical conduct builds trust and harmony, both within ourselves and in our relationships. Finally, mental discipline, right effort, cultivating wholesome states of mind and letting go of harmful ones. Right mindfulness, developing present moment awareness, observing thoughts and feelings without judgment. Right concentration, training the mind to focus deeply, leading to insight and calm. Through these practices, we learn to loosen the grip of craving and aversion. We develop a calm, clear mind and a heart that embraces all experience with openness. The Noble Eightfold Path is not a quick fix. It is a lifelong journey, one that requires patience, courage, and gentle persistence. But it is a journey worth taking. Because as we walk this path, moment by moment, breath by breath, we discover a freedom that no external circumstance can take away. We discover a peace that is not dependent on the world outside. We discover a happiness rooted deeply in understanding, compassion, and presence. In this way, the Buddha's teaching becomes not just philosophy, but a living practice, a path to a happier, more meaningful life. And so, the Four Noble Truths are not just ideas. They are a call to action, an invitation to wake up and to live with wisdom and kindness. As we conclude this journey through the Four Noble Truths, take a moment to reflect. Where are you on this path? What small step can you take today to cultivate more awareness, more compassion, more peace? The path is open. The choice is yours. As we come to the close of this journey through the Four Noble Truths, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've explored. These teachings are more than ancient wisdom. They are a living path, a guide to understanding the nature of suffering, recognizing its causes, embracing the possibility of freedom, and walking a path of wisdom and compassion. Living the Four Noble Truths is not about perfection. It's about presence, being aware of each moment, each challenge, each breath. It's about kindness toward ourselves and toward others. And it's about courage, the courage to face life honestly, to see clearly, and to keep walking forward, step by step. So today, I invite you to carry these truths with you, to notice when suffering arises, to gently explore its roots, and to return again and again to the path of mindful living. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, a practice, one that deepens with patience and love. If this video has touched your heart, if you found inspiration or clarity, please take a moment to like and share it with others who may benefit. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your questions, your experiences with the Four Noble Truths. So please leave a comment below. And if you want to continue exploring the beautiful teachings of the Buddha, please subscribe to this channel. Together, we can build a community of seekers, supporting each other on the path to peace and happiness. Thank you so much for being here today, for your open heart and mind. Until next time, may you walk your path with clarity, compassion, and courage. Peace be with you.